Hey Gus, you heard about Abbott and Costello coming by earlier to discuss the launch.
Oh, really?
I managed to get a transcript of their conversation. I have it here if you'd like to hear it.
Sure.
So Lou was standing around reading a newspaper when Abbott walked by, and they were overheard to say the following. Costello began, "Hey Abbott!" "Well, Costello, I'm going to the Kennedy Space Center with you to watch the Artemis launch." "I've been reading about the launch in the newspaper. I think I figured out why they haven't been able to get it off the ground." "Oh, I haven't been reading the papers the way you do, so you'll have to explain it to me." "Well, I'm reading about the problems they're having with hydrogen leaks. The answer to the whole problem is right here in the newspaper." He starts reading. "NASA was forced to scrub the second attempt to launch the unscrewed Artemis moon rocket." "See, that's it." "What's it?" "It says right here in the paper, the rocket was unscrewed. Of course the hydrogen's going to leak from a rocket with screws loose." "Wait a minute, let me see that." And Abbott reads through the paper. "It doesn't say unscrewed, it says uncrewed." Unscrewed, uncrewed, what's the difference? Someone needs to buy NASA a screwdriver so they can tighten down those leaks. "No, uncrewed, uncrewed. It means there are no people on the rocket." "No people on the rocket? You mean it's unmanned?" "That's right." "Well, if the rocket is unmanned, why don't they just say so? Besides, that's still no reason to leave the screws loose." "There are no screws. Screws have nothing to do with it. There is just nobody riding on that rocket. They don't call these shots unmanned anymore. NASA is a government operation, so they have to use gender-neutral terminology." "You're just trying to confuse me with those technical words." "Hey Abbott, if there's nobody riding on the rocket, why are they even bothering to launch it? What's the point of shooting up a $4 billion joyride if there's nobody riding for joy?" "Don't be so dense. This first shot is just a test. They want to make sure it isn't going to blow up before they put people in it." "It's no wonder everyone's afraid to ride in it. You'd have to be crazy to ride in a rocket that isn't screwed down tight." "Now listen to me, Costello. This first rocket has nobody in it. It's uncrewed. People will ride on the next one they launch." "Oh, I get it. Everyone's too afraid to ride on this one, but there will be people riding on the next one." "That's right. So the next rocket will be manned." "Well, no, it won't be manned. It will be crewed." "Wait a minute, that makes no sense. Nobody will want to ride in the next rocket either if it's so crewed. NASA must be running out of money if they have to cobble together a crewed version for the next space shot. Where would they find anyone crazy enough to ride in a crewed rocket? The next rocket isn't going to be crewed. It will be every bit as good as the first rocket." "As good as the first rocket?" "That's right." "The one they're launching tomorrow?" "Right." "If they can't find anyone to ride in the unscrewed rocket, where do they expect to find the dummies willing to ride in the crewed rocket? I certainly would not ride in a crewed rocket. It would probably fall all to pieces." "Costello, you've got it all wrong. The rocket they're launching tomorrow will be the one carrying the dummies. The rocket after that one will have people in it." "How could the dummies be riding in tomorrow's rocket if it's unmanned?" "The dummies aren't real live people. They're dummies, dolls, imitation people. They have sensors in them to measure how many G's they experience and how much radiation they get up in space." "Dummies?" "Right." "Not real people?" "Right. All they are is mannequins like you see in the department store." "Wait a minute. They can't be mannequins." "Why not?" "That isn't gender-neutral terminology. They must be crewicans."
It was a little rough, but it was all in fun. And we got the job at the drugstore. By the way, do you know anything about drugs?
I know everything about drugs.
You do?
Yeah, when I was a little boy, my mother drugged me from Paterson, New Jersey, over to New York. And drugged me from New York back to Paterson. In fact, she drugged me all over.
Well, I'm gonna drug you right down to the drugstore and get you this job. Come on.